For centuries, these mountains have protected Bhutan, a country closed off from the rest of the world until 1974. Today, the kingdom remains relatively inaccessible, as damage caused by monsoons has left its roads in ruins. Rock slides take passengers with them all too often. The Bhutanese people go from dread to delight in a fraction of a second, with this little kingdom being defined by its optimism. The entire way of life here is based on a subtle balance between tradition, preserving nature, and above all, people before profit.
Happiness.
But where do the roads fit into this? Safety is a question of wisdom here in Bhutan. Transportation in Bhutan is a game of chance. There is always a departure time, but the arrival time remains a mystery. The journey through the mountains is the stuff of adventures. In order to take on this mammoth task, Tenzin, like all drivers, choose a local stimulant drug similar to South American coca.
I need the domas long, I need the panila. The land ngati tsuni la tsuni ani tsuni ube ani dizali ani dani toka ube.
Betel is used to keep drivers awake when they're tired. And this form of protection goes hand in hand with another, more spiritual one.
Ani ngati atarang te ani garitang demi jibin digi te rangi sok de ani ta luma ke di jogo be mola te ani te kin barchi ongma chuse te leshom be malu he chuse ani melam ta te gikin barchi ma chuse atara tabe te nal gochupchi tabe.
Tenzin was headed to the Indian border. The 112-mile journey across the Himalayas will take 15 hours to complete, but at these altitudes, everything is a little more complicated. It was the middle of August, the height of monsoon season, and this meant there were torrential rains. These floods carry everything in their path.
Namja vegamula. Haptana nim sumsum de chabnila. Chapchapda di kemin dubala. Chapchapda di gachia kangil mithimela. Blog jo chamchi. Blog lam matamdara chamchi kauchemla. The chap bidi chap khora chapra chap deva chinde kemin dubala. Ola kaskanim ana blog deve ngachi jachi nanila. Machine get to Matsubadella. Only blasting chabi chamchi. Nim ni gitsi mimenala. There is some block joy mula. Nabanim chiga chamchi tang suchila. In Mabila, Gary only yellow home the Garidan is Gania Mabila. They only the Bombera oil. Gariella. Gary Cora based extremely. Eh, there is Junila. Has got him jumpy truck Chiamali Matazisi. And then Mishila, Rani Tongonji Jala Imila.
At altitudes of almost 10,000 feet, the fog can fall on the mountain without warning. Those vehicles battling through it are often older models. They rarely have fog lights, and these, amongst other mechanical failures, are the main causes for vehicles taking the plunge. This accident had just taken place, with the driver crashing into the wall in a desperate attempt to avoid the ravine below. These mountains serve as a throne to a higher power. Tenzin was in a hurry, but only old Shaman is able to speak to the gods. Every day this man attempts to stop the carnage caused by road accidents, guided by the spirits. He protects all passengers who ask for his blessing.
पहले बहुत गाड़ी स्टेशन भागते थे सर अंदर मंदिर बनाएपछि यहाँ गाडी रोक्यो यो फलान जग्गामा मन्दिर छिटछिट बनाउनु अन्त राम्रोमा चल्यो त्यो यहाँ मन्दिर बनाएपछि राम्रो पनि भएन सर गाडी स्टेसन भएन यो पहिलो रोड खुलेको कति साल भएको नि सर
Even though Tenzin is a Buddhist, a blessing from the Hindu gods couldn't hurt when he's on the road. Those who ignore the shaman's prayers quickly come to regret it. Like this truck stuck in a sticky situation. The rock slide almost took him to the bottom of the ravine. Everything surrounding his truck was unstable, and this wasn't the only issue. If this truck filled with dynamite were to go the same way, the resulting explosion would be devastating. Despite the danger, the road was leveled to allow the cars through.
दोनों बराबर और नीचे जो है फिलिंग करेंगे गाड़ी को लेवल बराबर कर लेंगे देन इसके बाद निकाल लेंगे.
To get the truck upright, The excavator had to lift it on one side and fill the gap with earth. Ironically, the engine which it was transporting was being taken to clear the road a few miles further on. And they'd better make it quick. The truck and its cargo didn't budge an inch. The workers then tried to remove the earth from the other side of the truck. The truck finally started to budge, but this rescue mission took all day, meaning dozens of other drivers were also at a standstill. However, whether it's a profitable venture or not, money isn't everything in Bhutan. A kingdom unlike any other, it puts people before profit. Instead of prioritizing GDP, the index of materialistic values, the king of Bhutan introduced GDH, gross domestic happiness. This system preserves the country's culture, with traditional clothes being compulsory in public, although Western clothes are slowly starting to appear. It also includes environmental protection, as Bhutan is on its way to becoming the first country to be completely pesticide-free. Globalization is threatening its wealth, water and forests, which cover 72% of the country. Cutting down trees is illegal without permission from the king. Chevang Rinsin is a particularly happy businessman, as he had received permission to buy 30 tons of wood. Although, like any boss, he's still grumpy.
Due to these road problems, the transportation charges is very high. So mostly, actually, the road is normal. It costs, I think, 25 rupees, 30 rupees per safety. Now, because of this road problem, they're charging 40 rupees per safety from Bhutan to Thimphu. There's no other way, so it will carry by the trucks. There's no options.
If his trucks flew like the legendary Bhutanese monk's tiger, the capital city of Thimphu would be just 12 miles away as the crow flies. But his 3 trucks will have to travel for 50 miles across treacherous terrain. Rinchen is never relaxed when travelling on these roads.
Ani Krishna, side chap mito se richikap ti chizo no side ma pa jibe rogi galam zumbe lam ga gudemi. Papa ani road over road na yata ti gate number 1 dile minus chap ti 2 ani zumba bila ti gajin sen gari gaya thin mitube ani maku mam me ger mam ani ebdira boda de dupoya them ani.
Not great for a country that aims to go green, but these fumes barely make a difference, as Bhutan is the only country that absorbs more carbon than it emits. The country's industry is practically non-existent. Almost everything is imported, meaning items like spare parts are expensive, so truckers often have to become handymen, using whatever is available to them.
Speed meter lavi mitu. Alistigi lavni selu garina ziben gari ganchi tani mindu mapa chikagi ani light da ani glass ti gade bitu ani chamchita me. स्पिड आमची जो से ngaji ani कसलो पोचगी थोले तांबी गरेका गेर माम जो अचिन गरे आमची शुक जो से आमची दि ngaji र शेव जोनी से ला आचरे डोमे देवेलानी ज्यादा अनि गु हेब्दि आज माम डोमे गजिनसेन याले माता द मा जुमिते में याता तन या जुमिते में अनि बुनादि आचरे डोमे देवेदलु अनि डाउन ना बेरा अनि लोड हेभी लोड हेब्दि आचे फादा चुपाउदा आचरे डोनी डोमे गदे बे द थ्याब्रा मिन्द दे more centers plus not since 5 season class 5 nele mapa pecha labdi khumchi mindo se dyanale gari achre lab te gari ta ani bitade mapa pecha lab siru de pecha lab me chacha ngachi olera ngachi zumchi ro me de gari ta adi tyani bedal khum mindo se no me ngai bechi gari na bodi.
He is paid just over $300 a month for this risky role, 100 more than the nation's average wage. 12 miles later, Vincent and his passengers make a stop to let the brakes cool down.
This for decoration, we call Pema Meto. Buddha is for decoration and for protection. This vehicle acts like our human. That's why they put eye here. All trucks makes like that, sir.
The three truckers will have to wait a while to see if their boss catches up with them. Unfortunately, Che Wang's little city car wasn't decorated with divine protection. He is really struggling with his little city car.
What are you looking for? Looking for some noise are coming, so that's why I'm checking. Okay. Looking for my car. Due to this problem, our car is giving lots of problem.
When travelling, Che Wang sometimes says that this index of gross national happiness is more of a concept than reality.
Happiness, giving gaki pensam di happiness di ngachar kya kam nalo tita gaki pensam giving gaki pensam ki tang all the tendi be te dinalo go the kiwa di mapali is lami pressure chita tarang karan mi dis kara rong jo be tita rara sa labe inanzo bene tita karan nam so rolo remogo rangi gi long rangi sani to ni kya kaber kachiber rangi ralo lamchi in the way tita dilu gaki pensam sa lo ran chi mes no.
Che Wang is clearly not a believer in the Buddhist expression, there is no path to happiness, happiness is the path. Buddha watches over the country from a height of 167 feet. The king of Bhutan governs his people by following a Buddhist philosophy. Man must respect the earth and live in harmony with the beings that inhabit it. The kingdom protects the Bhutanese people from the capitalist world outside. Fast food chains and billboards are banned in the capital city of Thimphu, as are cigarettes, with smoking being prohibited in public. Once a week, the city becomes entirely pedestrian. Bhutan is the only country in the world to not have traffic lights.
Atadi namseme tuwade kachi tudu dula. Tangachi du gya khamnalu traffic ki inke na bachin traffic sign and signal lights me di kachile ten di mimo se wachin tambalu ngachi gya khab di kupsi chengi gya khab chunkuchi beule ten gari ki chankhale cheru miloble cheti beru gari ki chankhale cheti beru jeng gya khab do chabda ngachi di neuron yu se shunila han bein digi ngachi gya khamnalu traffic ki sign da sign light di mimi di anile ten imbe se shunila.
There are around 35,000 cars for 800,000 inhabitants, a tiny percentage compared to 93% of US households having access to at least one vehicle. However, being a traffic light can be hard work. Modernization is creeping in slowly but surely. Bhutan was shut off from the rest of the world until the 1970s. Television was only introduced in 1999, with these small screens having a negative impact on gross national happiness. Since the Bhutanese people have discovered Western customs, national sports such as archery are being surpassed by others. The Bhutanese are now soccer mad.
In future that it can be, there is possible that it can replace the archery because most of the youth are influenced in playing football.
Bhutan is in itself a paradox, with a huge stadium being erected while roads leading to it are crumbling to pieces. Back in the mountains, Tenzin and his 17 passengers are advancing as best they could. The buses in Bhutan play an important social role, as without them, happiness would not reach the smaller villages. Tenzin is making up for the kingdom's weaknesses.
So you was a postman. Ani kunsella. The ani Bhutan post ki post mila. Gara ngachi bagula. Kunsel ngachi bago dele ani mail disu gara ngachi bago. Mila. The hema biach Bhutan post ki bus di bala. Bhutan post ki bus se cancel chabe dele ani ngachi company ki gari company bus tu chila. An bindigi Bhutan post ki chamba ngachi bago bil.
Given the height of these ravines, it's basically airmail.
It's really different from other countries, I guess. It's proud to be a Bhutanese also. Looking through our environment, we know that Bhutan is very happiness and peaceful. It's a green environment also. So even there's no such problems like other countries they have. So I think Bhutan is happiness.
Mila, ngachi atara John digi, the ngachi time I'm tongs ngachi shiver. The time I'm Google say, and time soon teach time. The time sooner the mapper town say, passenger this way, and will love. They ask Google, the time sooner time town say, love be and atara.
These rocky roads have at least one advantage: rocking the passengers to sleep. They'd been driving for 10 hours and had only travelled 62 miles. Bhutan's happiness doesn't seem to have reached its roads. This roadblock didn't bode well for the group.
Oma tarbiga lamzangcha. Oma time samga tarbil. Ni oma lugnyum cha banpili oma chang time ngagasha tarbi. Oma time ngagash tarbi. Ni oma time samga aibak tarbil. Ni time ga tharchala thagash time ga. Ni lam katang choslamela onyadu.
The roads have been under constant construction since the first one was built in 1961. Most of them only have one lane. Bhutan is in the process of expanding them, but the work is often dangerous.
Crisscrossed. Just the in the Dantak they
One section of this mountain is about to disappear. All the risks and responsibility involved in this explosion lie on the shoulders of this young lady, 23-year-old Yogita. She was lucky enough to pursue her studies in India, but has had no practical experiences.
I have done civil engineering and there is no subject called blasting in civil engineering course. So I learned it here only. Excavator cannot extract these rocks and all. Stone is too strong, it is too hard, and then it has been interconnected with each other, and then it is impact there from many years ago. That is the main problem of roads out here.
Hundreds of holes have been drilled into the mountain. The workers plant 400 sticks of dynamite inside them.
This one is detonator cap.
Okay.
With this, the fire is ignited. The whole blast happens due to this small object. Now we connect this in that G-cord.
Without any experience behind her, Yogita starts to lay the dynamite. She hopes her calculations are right because if the load is too big, a landslide will wash away the road. Too low, and the work will have to start over. There's only one safety rule in place. Run as fast as you can.
They are going to blast there also, so we'll run this way.
How long time we have between the blast?
It will take about 1 minute, maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe 1 minute or more. It will not take more than that. सक्यो दाजु साइड गर्ने अब मेसिनहरु यो लाइट गर्ने बेलामा भन्नु नि यहाँ पनि गर्नुपर्छ होला माथि हाम्रो आइटेको मेसिन छ म उलाई भनिदिन्छु अब रोक्दे भनौं like this. Now we will run. 1 minute or it may take few seconds also.
We don't know.
We don't know. So we have
It's a surprise.
Yes. It will not come here, but I think we have to go till there. Because of vibration, the rocks may fall. Like in previous records and all, I have heard that people died like that.
There's also a risk for those driving. The tremors caused by the dynamite could cause rocks that have been loosened by the rain to fall.
See now. Now we will see how much portion has gone. Oh my god.
Yogita couldn't believe she'd managed to avoid doing any damage. The road was cleared after less than an hour.
बर्बाद हुन्छ नि फेरि
I was a little bit stressed when the boulders fell down from the cliff, no? So...
He's not stressed. Modula.
Tiredness was setting in for Tenzin with 50 miles to go, so a passenger made him a better leaf to keep him going. Enough to keep his energy up for another 6 hours on the road. In order to prevent the Chinese government's ambitions for the country, the King of Bhutan allied himself with his other neighbour, India. India has been supplying engineers and other parts of the workforce since 1960. It's a form of slave labour where workers are undergoing life-threatening work with no protective equipment. This project is called Project Dantak.
ग्यारेज छ नि ग्यारेज त्यसको छेउमा
यहाँ चाहिँ के
यहाँ चाहिँ अब ग्रिपमा काम गर्दैछ
ग्रिपमा गर्नुहुन्छ
म त म अहिले यहाँ उसमा काङमुङ गएको
काङमुङ मात्र जानु भएको
मार्केट गएको बसहरू पक्कै जानुपर्छ अब कामको गाडीहरू त पाउँदैन
हजुर
बसमा जानुपर्छ कहिले ट्याक्सीमा
हजुर
These tireless workers are equipped with the most basic tools. Hundreds of them work on the roads for just $5.63 a day, without any protection.
बिहान उठ्नु सक्दैन
यहाँ ढुङ्गा लुट्नु थाल्नु भएको यहाँ अहिले गर्नु भएको यो साइडमा कति भयो
3 साइड हुँदैछ अब यो वाल गर्दा के को बेला वाल निस्किन्छ को बेला यस्तो वाल छैन भने मेन्टिङमा अब वाल यस्तो वालको काम छ वालमै
Project Dantak seems to have been omitted from Bhutan's gross national happiness.
ये खरीदना पड़ता है नहीं हम लोग ही खरीदते पड़ता है
Workers return to India every 6 months. In the meantime, they live in these makeshift huts.
ये हम लोग का बिस्तर है इधर में हम लोग इधर में सोते हैं
शूटिंग हो रहा है उठिए ना वहाँ देखिए उठ के देखिए पहले उधर देखिए ऊपर मुड़ा तो करिए एक बार
14 मैंने 10 इधर और 4 उधर उस रूम में इधर ये हम लोग का सामान खाने पीने का बहुत मुश्किल होता है उनमें वो तो बोलेगा काम करो क्या करेगा हम लोग तो
यहाँ रूम भी नहीं है बारिश आ जाएगा चुएगा सब चीज दिक्कत है जितने लोग
हम लोग जैसे कि चिकन विकन खाने वाले हैं इधर चिकन विकन मिलता नहीं है
सबका चेहरा यहाँ खराब हो गया फट जाता चेहरा गर्म ठंड के वजह से हाँ पानी चेंज कर हमारा चेहरा बहुत साफ था भारतीय दिन में चेहरा पूरा साफ था यहाँ पूरे काला वाला हो गया होता है मतलब कभी हो जाता है मतलब ऐसा डरामी उठाना हो अगर छूट गया हाथ से पाँव में लग सकता है गाड़ी से उतार रहे हो उतारने वाले किसी के लग जाते हैं इसलिए चौकंदा आराम से काम होता है ऐसे तरीके से खतरे का भी एक तरीके से है दिमाग से करेगा आदमी तो कुछ नहीं दिक्कत
The Project Dantak workers are also in charge of laying tar on the roads, and even though the machines seem relatively modern, these roadside slaves must heat the asphalt the old-fashioned way.
उसमें गया तो कोई बचना मुश्किल है कोई नहीं बचा सकता ऊपर वाला भी नहीं बचा सकता अच्छा नहीं फिर भी साइकिल से करना तो पड़ेगा
If a worker complains about the conditions, they're sent straight back to India. The environment is sacred in Bhutan, except when their infrastructure needs to be modernized. Back on the road to the capital city. Chewang was trying to catch up with the 3 trucks carrying his cargo. His little car was clearly not fit to tackle these roads, but he remained confident that Buddha would help him get there.
그중에서 받을 수주도 다른 기세요 답 받을 수 말로 김포 맞추 내심비 주죠 남칼로 리마주 다리로 김포 맞추세 땡같이 상기 좀는 데로 세요 답닝이 되려면 그 상기기 군자 충분히 나게 자면 아니
Trouble is never far away in Bhutan.
See, one more dangerous road. Tani lamdina la kachi jugolen teta gari kar meptambe golen teta okshomna kegobe. Okshomna kegolen te dinagolen ta okshomna zoigolen te telen chizoda tarusoso tamadu tem tarusoso zoda soso mat taru an zogo tem golen te tamsame te kachlo joso bom jumes lamne. 제체제 때 조메다 거리디서 같이면서 진짜 람레심이 나 람몰은 보트리죠 텔렌테 미드줄로 담마도 된 거리 충분히죠 제체때 람레심이 람게 거리 게다 잡죠 일단 담마데 레셔트네 다다바는 진짜 테마습다. 다가리나 오카노 집에 다가리 테미츠베다 라가탄다다. 다 피고베 미체베. to push now. As pigobe다. 다나 그 picture 저일래 와 가르다 보나 주샤베다. Now I have to get friends to push my car. This kind of situation is very tough.
People are very friendly. Everybody help everybody in Bhutan.
I gotta leave Kara Charbenilu leave Charbera Karagi. And when you get it, love Chiro Charbe Chiracho. But you do give me leave me.
1, 2, 3.
टायर गया ना दो भिजे जिसनु दे हम जिसु बे दो गुथो न
स्किट चबास हाँ हो ले दो चिन ले
Tenzin's troubles were now a thing of the past as his last few miles on the tarmac allowed him to finish his journey smoothly.
tension jamchi ma gade bi ke suga lamda gania mi vega garere mi shogas tele lamre block mi jogas ani chage jamchi la te rodilo ani zum be joni chani se mila te ma chage jamchi la te congratulation be ke suga mata te mila chachema ani dato lab ani chachema jo.
After a 15-hour journey travelling just 125 miles, the bus finally reached its final destination.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Always smiling, Tenzin would be heading back the next day, grateful that he can help out those people who live in the mountains. The driver is an essential part of the country's gross national happiness. Up in the clouds, however, this altruism wasn't shared. Che Wang stayed dry while the others waded in the mud. Che Wang has his own way of interpreting happiness.
Oh, it's okay now. Bhutan people are very helpful. Whenever we need the help.
Oh, long as any gachilo, the Garinalu, Garidam the Ziva, the Gachi Charo Bedola, the Atzere Betsuchi Charo Bed, and even the Girabruta Tem Jimmy Selavilla. Ah, tell you, Zula me as long as I'm to this joy.
Yeah, tonight I'll go to workshop and I have to repair my car immediately. Ta nalima joy golen lamda chilijim du. Achmo sewa chen. Ta alkata to. Like tom penny digi lama chilijim du. The lam lejim dara ngache sem go me. Tem sem go dara te jobai hupe. Te budanga te tatana ni truck ni da jogo.
This is perhaps the real lesson of happiness. Che Wang is happy when things are good and quickly forgets the troubles of the past.
Finished. My work is done. It's okay. It's very tough to journey this road.
It's more scaring than to make business in Bhutan than in another country.
Yeah, most probably I try. How are? Huh? How are? Chai. Ya dampana timje te yotonga. Sharanga mela roti kan chai. Ganda to los me de yotonga. Dampana.
Bhutan puts its people before profit. with its population seeming genuinely happy despite most living on $1.50 a day. Now the question lies in how long the country will hold on to its identity with the increase in cars and smartphones. And the country's inhabitants are now going into debt to buy the latest gadgets. The wind of change is blowing gently over the kingdom.